happening, Magnacites? Alright, let's get some explanation on these two post-credit scenes. Because I'm seeing here, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness post-credits explained Secret Wars is set up. Let's get it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and wow, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was an insane movie. And if you're here right now, you want to know what's up with those post-credit scenes. And I have to tell you, it is really, really exciting because we have a new character who seems to be taking over the role of Christine Palmer, because in the comics, at least, she is Doctor Strange's lover and wife, actually. So we'll go over everything that you need to know about her in this video, and also talk about how Avengers Secret Wars is being set up for the MCU, and they did that big time here in this post-credit scene and in the actual film. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We cover Marvel content daily, and we'll be covering the Obi-Wan series and some DC movies coming up as well, like Black Adam. Now, obviously, I have to...
The black suit is incoming for Spidey!
If you have not seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness yet, and you are trying to avoid spoilers, you should click away now, because we're about to dive into them. Now, to know the first post-credit scene, you of course have to know what happened at the end of Doctor Strange. Everything was over and done, everything kind of seemed fine, Doctor Strange was walking down the street, then all of a sudden he started to experience agonizing pain and he fell to the floor. And this is where his third eye is revealed. Now, we saw that the darkest Doctor Strange variant, who was actively using the Darkhold, had a third eye as well. This was because he was corrupted by the Darkhold. Then our Doctor Strange defeated him, and he went on to use the Darkhold and to dreamwalk, and now it seems like he has been corrupted by it as well. But seeing as how our Doctor Strange appears to be very different than the others, I don't think that this is going to be a huge problem. Then we go to our post-credit scene where Doctor Strange actually seemingly is fine. He is walking down the street, no third eye, no agonizing pain, but then a person comes up behind him, and she calls out to him, Doctor Strange. He turns around, looks very confused, and says, "Can I help you?" She then says, "You caused an incursion and we're gonna fix it." She then summons a magical blade and cuts a rift in their reality to the Dark Dimension. The same Dark Dimension that we saw in the first Doctor Strange film where Dormammu was. She looks
That's what it looked like to me.
Turns back to Doctor Strange and says, "Unless you're afraid," in which Doctor Strange takes a scarf, throws it over the back of his neck, and it turns into his cloak and entire Doctor Strange outfit, and he says, "Not in the least," as we see his third eye open, and the two of them jump in. Now, like I said, it doesn't really seem like the third eye / corruption is going to be a problem for our Doctor Strange. As we see here, Doctor Strange is completely fine, and he seems to actually be using the third eye to his advantage. Now, the third eye in the comics, his mystic eye, is actually the Eye of Agamotto, not a physical eye that he opens from his forehead. So they definitely changed this up a little bit in the MCU, giving it a little bit of a twist. But keep in mind that the Darkhold in every reality has been destroyed by the Scarlet Witch, so the risk of him using it and becoming more corrupt and evil isn't really that high, and he probably realizes this and figures out a way to make it work to his advantage. Now, this person is Clea. I'm sorry to all the people who thought that it was Psylocke. I admit, yes, that blade does look like Psylocke's, but this is not the X-Men Psylocke, this is Clea, Doctor Strange's romantic interest in the comics and eventually his wife. And the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension. And to top it all off, she is actually the niece of Dormammu. When Clea was born, her mother was actually banished from the dimension that they were at. So she grew up not knowing who her mother was, but her father served Dormammu, so she grew up worshipping Dormammu in the Dark Dimension. Now, eventually Dormammu would threaten Earth, and the Ancient One sends Doctor Strange to the Dark Dimension to defeat Dormammu. This is where Clea notices him and follows him around, and she eventually ends up helping him and betraying Dormammu. Now, their story is pretty long and pretty complicated, but eventually Clea does come to Earth, in which she trains under Doctor Strange. However, she does eventually return to the Dark Dimension, where she rules over it as Sorcerer Supreme. This does put a strain on the relationship between her and Doctor Strange, but the two of them actually get mystically married. Check this out. They couldn't actually legally get married because she is actually from another dimension, not a citizen of Earth. So they wore magical rings that were actually only one, and were therefore mystically connected for all of eternity. So, as you can see, this is a pretty huge character that has been introduced to the MCU here. And plus, not to mention, it's Charlize Theron, who is absolutely fantastic. But one of the big things that this post-credit scene sets up, as well as the actual movie sets up, is Secret Wars. Specifically, a story where Incursion occurs. Now, we learned what incursion was in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and it's pretty much exactly what happens in the comics, and this eventually leads to the multiverse essentially collapsing. Incursion occurs, and universes start to combine with each other, and some start to collapse. And I think that this is where the MCU is heading. Eventually, the multiverse itself will be destroyed, and only one universe is going to be left. And from here, we will see a bunch of different variants interacting with each other. We'll have a bunch of different variants of Thor, Loki, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, the Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man. Then they'll go up against villains like Doctor Doom, Kang, and whoever else the MCU wants to introduce before then. And at that point in time, we'll have the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in the MCU as well, so this really is going to be a huge, huge movie when they finally do it. Way bigger than Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, if you can even believe that. But again, incursion is a big part of that, because incursion is what leads to the destruction of universes and the multiverse. And we have this big Illuminati scene here with Mr. Fantastic, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards explaining the threat of incursion, which was the whole reason that Doctor Strange was being judged by the Illuminati. So it really does look like Secret Wars tends to be the huge story that Marvel Studios is eventually going to lead up to, which is really exciting because we're going to get some pretty amazing characters and their variants, including God Emperor Doom. And in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we had the introduction of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, so hopefully the true main MCU Earth 616 X-Men and Fantastic Four are coming soon. Now, as far as that second post-credit scene goes, we go back to Pizza Papa, played by Bruce Campbell. During the movie, America Chavez goes up to a stand and gets some pizza balls from him. She thinks they're free because she explains to Doctor Strange that food in most universes is free, and it's weird that his universe makes you pay for food. However, she is actually wrong. In this universe, you still have to pay for food, so Pizza Papa wants his money. Doctor Strange casts a spell on him that makes him start to punch himself in the face and beat himself up. He explains that the spell will eventually wear out, and America Chavez says in like 3 hours, and he explains, well, no, kind of in like 3 weeks. So here we are 3 weeks later, and he finally stops hitting himself. He looks at his hand as it's now not hitting him, laughs hysterically, looks directly into the camera, and yells, "It's over." Now, obviously, this is a little bit of a pun here, a little bit of a joke. He's obviously referring to it's over, as in his hand is no longer hitting him, the spell is over, but he's also making a joke that the movie's over. This is the last post-credit scene, and it's done. And honestly, it was fine. It was a funny scene, but I was hoping for more. I was hoping for another big post-credit scene. Perhaps a Deadpool setup, maybe an X-Men or Fantastic Four setup where we see John Krasinski as the actual Earth 616, Reed Richards, or the Baxter Building being built. But hey, I'm really excited for the future of Marvel Studios, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness proved that Marvel can go in a different direction than they normally do and absolutely crush it. But let me know what you thought about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in the comments down below. Did you enjoy it, or did you not like it? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Marvel news. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Good job there. Good job there, Cosmic Wonder. You helped me out because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I remember when Secret Wars was going on, and my buddy was like collecting all these different comic books for it, and he would tell me a little bit about it, but I never collected them at that time. I started collecting, I think, later or whatever, and so I always knew a little bit about Secret Wars, but not all the damn details. There's probably a graphic novel out there with all of them in there. I should probably get a hold of that and read it, and so I'm all caught up for it when it eventually comes out. So get over and subscribe to the Cosmic Wonder. If you enjoyed my reaction to all this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo!